Come take a chance, I'll show you where the mountains touch the sky. It's a horseback dance, and we can ride forever if we try. A dream in the distance, there for you to chase. Out in the sunrise with the wind on your face. Come ride with me, let's ride away.
So today I want to talk about the importance of having control of your horse's body, each part individually and as a whole. I have a lot of people tell me that, oh, well, I just want to do trail riding, so this isn't important. Or, oh, I just want to go and do barrels, so this isn't important. Or whatever their excuse may be. When it comes to controlling your horse's body, you should be able to control it as a whole, but also each part individually, and isolate a single part of your horse's body and get control of it if you need. And it doesn't matter if you're just a trail rider. In my opinion, trail riders' horses should be just as solid as a ranch horse. Trail riding is the same thing as what a ranch horse does every day, except you're just not pushing cows down the trail. If you plan on doing gaming, you need to be able to have control of your horse's body. If you plan on doing dressage, I mean, that's an obvious. If you plan on doing search and rescue, if you plan on jumping, if you plan on, no matter what you plan on doing with your horse, having control of each part of your horse's body and being able to isolate a single part of your horse's body and get control of that aspect of them is extremely important. For one, it's a safety concern. We're going to pretend there's a trail here. This side of the trail is loose shale rock and a drop off, and this side is going uphill. And if your horse steps on that loose shale rock, you're tumbling down the hill. So being able to control your horse's body and bend them and get them on the correct side of the trail and keep their feet where you need them to go is extremely important. If you're going to be doing gaming, I can't tell you how many times I've done lessons and people are like, well, I just want to run barrels. And they think that running barrels is just going at a fast pace. I'm just doing it at a trot and pulling their horse around the barrel and then kicking them back. But the people who do high-level, high-speed events and who are good at barrel racing are going to tell you that it's really important to have shoulder control, hip control, and control of the horse's ribs and their feet in order actually to perform at a high level. Next thing is if you ever do want to advance in your horsemanship and try new things and do more fun things, if you're wanting to go compete in competitions, ranch classes are becoming extremely popular right now. Having control of your horse's body in order just to be able to go and show in a ranch class is important. If you're wanting to learn new things like doing a rollback or teaching your horse to do a reining spin, all that is a haunch turn. A spin and a rollback is this, just with more forward motion. It's maneuvering the shoulders and having control of the shoulders. Teaching your horse to slide stop is having control of the hind end. Teaching your horse to side pass is having control of your horse's body. A lot of people I know, something as simple as just a haunch turn and moving the shoulders or disengaging the hind end or side passing, to them, that is advanced and they don't see any need for it. But if you want to be safe riding down the trail, if you want to do better while you're gaming and doing high-speed events, if you're wanting to advance in your horsemanship, it's important. And also when it comes to your horse's overall health with conditioning. Because if you don't have control of your horse's body and they're not carrying themselves balanced, then you're going to have a horse that's carrying themselves incorrectly. They're going to be upside down and they're going to lack top line. They're not going to build the top line muscles because they're not carrying themselves balanced. Their hind end is going to get weak. They're going to overbuild the neck muscles here and underbuild the top neck muscles. And that horse is going to be carrying itself like this. And you're going to end up dealing with lameness issues, with foot issues, with tack fitting issues. And when a horse is in pain and because they're not carrying themselves properly, because you don't have control of that horse's body and you can't correct it, guess what? They're going to be in pain out in the pasture incorrectly carrying themselves as well. And so now you had a horse that you probably could have ridden well into their 20s, but you're retiring them at 15, 16 years old because they're having issues consistently becoming lame every single time you ride them because they've been ridden improperly and unbalanced their entire lives. And a horse that's consistently in pain, they're going to have gut issues and internal issues due to being in pain. And so if you have control of your horse, you're going to promote longevity of that horse by making them carry themselves balanced and having control of that body, teaching them to carry themselves balanced, conditioning them properly. I can speak from experience that carrying yourself incorrectly leads to daily pain. I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis in my lower back at 25 years old. And for the longest time, I believed that because I've worked male-dominated industries a majority of my life with a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of heavy physical work, that my body was just breaking down at an earlier age because I worked primarily male-dominated industries that were extremely physical jobs. But once I realized that I'm not engaging my core, and my core isn't strong, my abs and my back isn't strong, started realizing when I started engaging it and I started utilizing and carrying myself properly, all of the things that I had struggled with due to pain went away. For 20 years, I've been training and trimming and shoeing my own horses. And up until the last 2 years, I've been unable to do more than just trimming the fronts. And then the next day going and trimming the backs, putting the shoes on the fronts, the next day going and putting the shoes on the backs because I was so crippled up and my back hurt so bad that by the time I was done trimming, I could not stand up straight. I had to walk hunched over like this because if I stood up straight, it hurt so bad it made me dizzy and make me want to throw up because of the osteoarthritis in my back. But the reality of the situation is it wasn't because I had worked highly physical jobs and worn my body out. That does play into it, but it's the fact that I had been carrying myself improperly. I was never taught to sit up straight, engage your core, use your back, sit up straight. Don't sit like this. Don't walk like this. But to engage your core. And all of the problems that I had with my back hurting consistently all of the time, my shoulder hurting, my shoulder would get to hurting so bad that I couldn't even pick up a gallon of milk. It hurt so bad, and I was in and out of the chiropractor all of the time. But the reality of the situation is I wasn't carrying myself properly. And once I started focusing on carrying myself properly, engaging my core, my back, and sitting up straight the way that I should be, those issues have gone away. I can now trim and shoe a full set on my horses without being crippled for 3 days. The pain in my body that I was taking ibuprofen and Tylenol on a daily basis has gone away simply from me being like this all the time and going, no, I need to sit up and engage my core and engage my back and carry myself balanced and carry myself properly. It's the same thing with our horses. If you're not teaching them to be balanced and correct by not having control of their body, they're going to have the same issues. A lot of people that I see that struggle with saddle fit has to do with the horse not being ridden properly. A lot of people that I see that have horses with lameness issues is because their horse isn't carrying themselves properly. Their horse is constantly, their hind end is out behind them, their back is hollowed out, and their neck's like this. And their horse has hip issues and arthritis in their knees because of it. Because that horse has been ridden incorrectly and it's wore and tore on that horse's body. If you're wanting to do speed events, I am not a speed event person. I'm not a barrel racer. I don't do gaming. I don't do those things. But anyone, like I said earlier, anyone who knows what it takes to perform and do well for your horses to not only perform to their best ability, but to keep that horse conditioned and balanced and riding properly. Gaming is not running down, say this sticks the barrel, and turning that horse around the barrel and then kicking him up. Because if you didn't notice there, if you think about the biomechanics of a horse, when I take her down and just pull her around, her hind end kicks out, right? And she pivots on her front end. Well, in order for this horse to pick up speed to go to the next barrel, that hind end needs to be underneath her and she needs to be balanced so that she can take that hind end and utilize its power to get up and get going. And she cannot get up and get going and pick up speed and use the impulsion of that hind end when that hind end is disengaged and unbalanced like this. That's exactly why when we teach the one rein stop to people, the emergency stop, the goal is to disengage the hind end and take the power away from that horse for forward momentum. That's what makes a good emergency stop a good emergency stop, is taking the power away from that hind end. So if you're barrel racing or doing some sort of speed event and you're turning that horse and you pull them around and they disengage that hind end, you just took away any level of competition or speed or power that that horse had to get up and go to the next barrel and gain speed faster. Because if that hind end's disengaged, before that horse can pick up speed, they need to get it back underneath them. They need to balance themselves out, pick up their front end, engage the hind end, and then pick up speed. That's 5 extra steps that your horse needs to do. Instead of when you go to run around that barrel, picking up the shoulders, keeping that horse straight, and bending that horse around and keeping them balanced. Now look at this. Now I'm facing that next barrel and she's straight. Her hind end isn't out underneath here and it's underneath her. So I could just, and she has that power and impulsion to pick up speed as soon as you make the turn around that barrel. Like I said, I am not a gamer. I don't game. I haven't gamed since I was in 4-H when I was in high school. I haven't ran barrels or done any of that. But I know the general concept of what a pattern is to run barrels, poles, whatever it may be. If you want to do a keyhole race and you want your horse to be successful at the keyhole, if you're doing omoxy or whatever, what's going to make your horse successful at the keyhole is not running down, doing the same thing, kicking that hind end out, and then kicking him up. What's going to make that horse really successful at the keyhole is them going down, stopping, bringing the shoulders around, and then kicking up and having the balance to do that. See how she kicked up real quick there? She even knocked me out of my seat because she kind of got a little goosey too. But you see how quickly she was able to pick up speed there from a stop. She went into a canter, and I've never even gone from a stop to a canter on this horse before. And she picked up into a canter right away because she had the balance, power, and impulsion of that hind end because I rocked her back onto it and moved her shoulders instead of kicking the hind end out and around. So it doesn't matter if you're gaming. If you're wanting to advance your horsemanship and do more advanced things like a rollback, like I just showed you. A rollback is rolling the shoulders around and picking up speed. If you're wanting to do a reining spin, it's that, just really, really fast, having control of that horse's shoulders. If you're wanting to do things dressage and do half passes, half pass that horse. That's control of the horse's body. Those are the foundational things. Being able to do a haunch turn, being able to do a forehand turn, being able to manipulate and control your horse's body is the foundational things your horse needs to know in order to become more advanced. Your horse isn't going to learn how to do a rollback just by running them down the fence and then jerking and ripping them around, because the first thing that happens when you do this is that hind end's going to kick out, and a rollback isn't the hind end swinging around on the forehand. A rollback is them sitting on their hind end, rolling their shoulders back. That's why it's called a rollback, I assume. I just made that up. If you're wanting to do more advanced things, if you're wanting to compete, being able to control and manipulate your horse's body in a way to be able to do those things. I could go and do a ranch pattern on this horse. If I were to go and compete, even though she only has 20 rides on her, I'd enter obviously green horse class and it said 90-degree turn. 90-degree turn. If it said you needed to do a haunch turn, haunch turn. If I needed the side pass over a log, side pass over the log. If I needed the back through an L shape, back. Kick the hips over, back. I could back an L shape. I can enter this horse in a ranch class for a green horse and probably do halfway decent on her and be able to complete all of the obstacles. All of the obstacles might not be super pretty because she only has 20 rides and a lot of this isn't super refined, but I could compete and do all of the obstacles on this horse. Even if it came to picking up a certain lead, I have control of this horse's body in such a way that if I were to go, I can't really pick up the canter in here very well because it's not a very big pen. But I can bend and manipulate this horse's body and set her up for a canter departure and get her to pick up that correct lead because I can bend and manipulate her body in such a way that's going to encourage her to pick up that lead naturally. And then also when it comes to conditioning your horse, like I said, a lot of people think conditioning your horses is just putting wet saddle pads on them, but it's so much more than that. Yesterday, I was trotting around clockwise because I have a tendency to go counterclockwise, and I'm trying to build her muscle for going this direction as well and not just do one direction, thinking this is how I'm going to condition her. And as soon as I got to this little drop right here and was asking her to turn, she was leaning in like this into the turn. And because I had control of her body, when she leaned and dropped her shoulder into the turn, I was able to pick up and tell her, go straight, straighten your body upwards, and then bend it into the turn. Don't lean. There she tried to lean, but here I have control of her body, and I was able to pick her up so that she wasn't compensating for the weaker side of her body. And it's more than just going evenly in both directions with your horse. It has so much to do with having control of that horse's body too, because it would take her a lot longer to condition the weaker side of her body if when she went into that turn, she still leaned into it, compensating for the weak side of her body. And I wasn't able to pick up and say, no, you need to pick up your body and carry yourself correctly and not compensate for weakness, but strengthen that weakness. And that's why it's so important for us to have control of our horses' bodies. It does not matter if you are just a trail rider. It does not matter if you want to do gamings and run barrels and poles. It does not matter if you just want to ride your horse for fun. It does not matter. The reason why it is so important to have control of your horse is, one, for safety. When you're riding down the trail, so you can put your horse's feet where they need to go when you're in a rough spot of the trail and you don't go tumbling down the hill. When it comes to gaming, like I said, you should be able to pick up and control that horse, pick up their shoulders, round their body out around that barrel, around that pole, whatever it may be, so that they have the power and impulsion for them to perform for you. It's important to have control of your horse's body so that when you do go to advance, your horse has the foundational things in order to do that. The control of those body parts, being able to isolate movement of a specific part of their body. And then also for conditioning and overall health of that horse. Because a horse that doesn't carry themselves balanced, a horse that compensates when they're weak because the wrong muscle groupings have been built up, because they've been hollowed out in the back, the hind end out has been out from underneath them, and they've been riding like this, that horse is going to be in pain. You're going to struggle with lameness issues, you're going to struggle with saddle fit issues, you're going to struggle with gut health issues with that horse being in pain because they're being ridden imbalanced because you don't have control of that horse's body. And that is why it's extremely important, no matter what type of riding you are wanting to do. It does not matter if you're just a trail rider, or you just want to run barrels, or you just want to have fun with your friends. You have to have control of your horse's body, each part individually and their body as a whole, for safety, for advancement, and for your horse's overall health.